cameras, action. Now let's engage in the dialogue. Let me browse through your mind like a catalog. Conscious metaphysics, allow me to break down the specifics. Educate, motivate. If you don't feel free, you can liberate. An LLC is what I'm building, the #1 podcast in the building. So let me slide on up in the Bentley truck in my Versace shirts. They can't get enough of this deep conversation, expansion, elevation. I'll send you a link you can tap in. It ain't quite what I used to do back then. Now I get it on the front and the back end. Multiple money streams keep coming in. Enlightened, empower, evolve. Enlightened, empower, evolve. Greetings, everyone. I'm Luke Bryan Smith, and welcome to Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved. I believe everyone is doing well and everything is unfolding perfectly. I'm excited yet again, and you know why? Because I love engaging in amazing, positive, enlightening, awakening dialogues with extraordinary people from around the world. And today is no exception. I have on Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved today, Nicole, Coco Lamina, and who is a pharmaceutical. She works for a pharmaceutical company. She's a nurse, a clinical educator. She's a therapist. She works with Reiki. She has a business called Vibracion Healing, and just amongst a whole lot more. But we'll talk about that. So how are you doing today, Nicole?
Oh, I'm doing excellent. How are you today, Luke?
I'm doing fabulous. And I just want to extend my sincerest gratitude because I'm a firm believer that time is one of our most precious assets. And for you to choose to spend even a segment of your time here on my podcast, I just want to extend gratitude to you. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so let's just get right into it. So, first of all, you're a clinical educator, a nurse for a pharmaceutical company. Can you break that down a little bit? The clinical educator?
I support a drug for a pharmaceutical company at a call center. So
Okay.
patients will call in and they'll ask about the drug, and then I help them, like teach them with administration, if they have questions about side effects or how they get their drug, if they want to sign up for like financial help, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Great. But what I'm really interested in, and that's fabulous, but what I'm really interested in is that you're a certified massage therapist, and you have your own business entitled Vibracion Healing. Let's get into that. How'd you start that, and what does that business entail?
Well, actually, I wrote it the Spanish way because I'm half Mexican too. So I call it Vibracion, which it means vibration, exactly what you said. But I call it Vibracion Healing. Everybody calls me Coco, just because once I was working at a certain hospital and there was like 5 Nicoles at the nurses station. And so we all had our own nicknames. One was Nick, one was Nick, one was Nikki. I'm like, just call me Coco. So
Like,
yes.
As I was saying prior to this segment, how could you not be called that? That is so cool. And who does not like Coco?
Thank you so much. Yes. But my energy medicine practice has paralleled my nursing career, and I've been doing both for about 27 years. So, yeah, and it's been very enriching into my life. When I worked in behavioral health, I worked in addiction. So for about 9 years, ran the energy medicine program there for the chronic pain and the medical recovery unit. And we definitely offered like a host of therapies. And then I was permitted to practice Japanese Reiki, Mayan crystalline sound healing, which is called Cizin I'Raku. And then I was also incorporating Arcturian healing methods. And then when I was channeling energy, all of a sudden, sometimes Aurora Borealis energy would come down. Like in my mind's eye, I would see all the colors swirling. I
Right.
was like, that about? And then also, besides that, pulsar energy would descend as well. So I started to incorporate those frequencies too into the healing whenever they would just come through.
And
So
and excuse me, but when did this start? I mean, was there a certain moment in your life, or has it always been that way, where you had this gift and were seeing these colors and feeling what you were feeling? Did a transformation happen at a certain point, or was it
um,
always like that and you just didn't know what it was, or how'd that unfold?
it was kind of interesting. I got a reading actually the weekend before, and the woman who read me said that I came into Earth gifted. And I was like almost ready to like not argue with her, but I was like, I really thought my awakening started when I was 12 because that's when I noticed I started seeing auras around. I went to 12 years of Catholic school. So when the priest would come in and he would give talks on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m., I used to see colors around his head and his shoulders.
You seen
And
there, or how do you pronounce it? Aurora?
and yeah, I
Oh,
would
okay.
see thin. It was only like an inch or two. It was, and my comparison, it was like the Crayola crayon. So it was like a cornflower blue color,
Oh, wow.
radiate. It was like light, and it was radiating over his head and shoulders because that's kind of where I was focusing on. But then it started, I would see it in my own mother. It was very dynamic in her because she's very like lively and animated. And I think the auras would start fluctuating with people's moods and things of that nature. But when I graduated nursing school, one of my best friends found a class that offered therapeutic touch because that's a valid nursing theory that involves energy, like working with electromagnetic field, the aura of a person,
Right.
and like manipulate it to provide assist in balancing the energies of the body that would impact, the physicality and the spiritual, as well as the mental too. And
Is that
so,
uh is that actually, and excuse me again, but I'm just
yeah.
very you, you have a lot of things that you're talking about that makes me curious. So when you say that what is it? Something touch?
Uh, therapeutic touch
Therapeutic
was,
touch. Do you actually touch, or is it you get close to them like this, your energy?
well, I never got a chance to learn it because every time,
Oh,
every time
okay.
for it at this healing center that my friend found, because back in the day in the Philly area, there was this big magazine. It was called the Nursing Spectrum. And it had
Oh,
all these like little fun classes in the back that you could take, and that's where she saw the class. And every time I signed up, there wasn't enough people. They're like, "Oh, hon, we're offering Reiki. Why don't you learn that?" And so I was like, "Sure, I'll sign up." They're like, "It's a similar theory. It's like a Japanese form of Tibetan healing. I'm like, "Okay, I'll sign up for it." And then from there, like having all those attunements, the teacher's looking at me because I'm seeing like a purple orb flying around the
oh,
room.
wow.
And there,
Wow.
she's like, "Is anybody seeing anything?" Because my eyes kept following it. And she said that when Dr. Mikao Yasui, the founder of Reiki, is present during the class. And usually Reiki is the color of purple. So that's probably why I was seeing it was probably him flying around the room.
Oh,
But
probably.
yeah,
And you have a beautiful purple jacket on, as I might add.
thank you.
Yes, I
Thanks.
love the color purple too, especially I've grown up being a Prince fan as well. So
Um,
that's his color, purple. But yeah, purple, when you look at it, and it just has a certain feeling about it, you know, and it's
yeah.
Yeah, it's very sort of like, to me, in my perspective, it's very uh calming and beautiful and kind of mysterious, kind of. I don't I don't know if you understand. I mean, if I'm articulating it correctly, or if I'm
Oh
really,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's a, I don't know, it's just a, like an eclectic color. It's just amazing. I love it.
Thank you. I do too. And I think in like the Judeo-Christian realms, I think the Bible probably talks about it in terms of royalty.
Royalty, yes.
Yeah. But
Yes.
I like to think of it as the connection with universal energy and the divine. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. That's amazing. Yes. So also, you are an Aurora. You just spoke on that. What is this? Borealis and Pulsar Channeler.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh, so when I started channeling the Arcturian frequencies, um, and Arcturian frequencies, I studied with Dr. Jean Ang. He's a PhD neurobiologist from Yale, and he kind of was guided to start teaching others how to utilize Arcturian healing for balancing mind, body, and spirit.
Right.
Um, I started, and Arcturus it's a sun in the Boots galaxy, and it's 30 times larger than our sun.
Wow. That's hard to imagine.
Yeah, so it's a really powerful vibration that comes down when you channel that frequency.
Right.
Um, but in the middle of channeling that, um, I would start to rock, and then I would time it. It because I'm a nurse. I time
Yes.
everything
It had a rhythm.
totally.
Excuse me. It had,
Yeah,
oh yeah, it had a rhythm. You were timing, the rocking.
the sensation of
This
it
is
was so powerful as like, and sometimes when I do Arcturian healing, sometimes I put my hands out to channel. Sometimes I'm just sitting in a chair in a meditative state. But a lot's going on, and I'm focusing on the patient's body, who was at the time was lying down in their hospital bed. But yeah, so this energy was coming down, and the way I was timing it, and then I didn't know. I was like, what? I don't even know what a pulsar is. I had to go look it up on the internet. I'm like, what is all this stuff? And like, so I looked that up, and I was drawn to the binary pulsars. And then what I came to measure, they oscillate, and like there's two stars that end up in their own orbit, and they're so I think gravity makes them rotate around each other.
right.
And that's where you get the pulsar watches that are timed like 60 seconds or whatever. But
Yes.
the timing of it, I can't remember if it was 4 or 5, it was coming down every 4 or 5 minutes. And I was speaking with a unified physicist because I study metaphysics too. And I was like, and he was like, yeah, that seems pretty consistent with the I guess the oscillations and the frequency of that times. He's like, that does sound like a binary pulsar. Like that does sound like the frequency and the time in which that occurs. So he's like, you have something there. Actually, it was Adam Apollo who said that, and he asked if he could use what I revealed to him in some talks, because sometimes he gives talks all over. Do you know Adam Apollo?
No, this is the first time me hearing about him. Is he discuss metaphysics and polarity and just vibrations and atoms and things like that, or how? What does he
He
discuss?
did a lot of work with I think his name is Nassim Haramein, who's another physicist, and I think
Okay.
they are on the board of the Residence Academy where they offer tons of classes. But I
Okay.
know DJ, he owns several different businesses. Um, he's kind of like cutting edge. He's like very progressive, but
Right.
he's had experiences as well. But he's given talks at the White House and at the United Nations, and so he liked like what I shared with him because he teaches unified physics, and that's kind of like right up his alley. So I was
Yes.
like, sure. I'm like, absolutely. Like I was like kind of like not taken aback, but I was like, okay, sure, because
Yes. I interviewed a physicist who formerly was employed with NASA. His name was Dan. His name is not was, but his name is Dan Matthews, and he's just wow. It was just a little. He did some what do you call it? Some demonstrations, and
uh-huh.
right there, and it was just amazing.
Oh, wow.
You know what? After this segment, I'll find. I had him on my show about I think 3 times. I'll copy the links to his shows and I'll send them to you in Messenger so you can check him out.
Okay, that
He's
would
an
be great.
awesome guy. Yeah, Dan Matthews, and yeah, I'll see if I can find the one where he did the 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 um the the electric. He did. I don't know. I can't think of the names, but the demonstrations that he did for me and let you see that. It's just amazing. So what I'm gonna ask you is so it's kind of an elementary question, but when you work with people in regards to your expertise, what benefits have you noticed, or have they anyone informed you? Um, has it helped anyone find a balance within themselves, or what has occurred?
Well, most of those different modalities, I mean, they all have different their own little style to them. Like when I do the Cizin I'Raku, I studied with the Mayan priest and I
Right.
utilize like a Native American frame drum, rattles. Sometimes I usually finish off the session with a mutual vocal toning exercise. And I do a
Right.
crystal grid body. And usually I'm drawn to maybe areas when I scan the body that I might feel that have maybe more pins and needles in one area that may need a little more help. Maybe that chakra is not spinning as it should, or maybe there's something going on with the organ. Maybe there's something emotion stuck in their emotional body there. Um, and sometimes I'm able, I might use my intuition and get insight or, hear a message. I work with my spirit guides and the client spirit guides. I bring all like the ascended masters, and I bring my team, my spirit team in. And so through that, um, I might start to get images. I might start to hear names of people in their life, whether they're living or dead.
Right.
Um, they might come in during the treatment. And so it might illuminate an area where maybe they need to focus on. Um, and sometimes it usually ties in, even if it's something physical, it might tie into something, an emotional component as well. So it just might bring insight into what's going on. And then I might get guided. And because I have a behavioral health and I have a minor in psychology, I might get guided to explore that a little bit more.
Wow.
And I might get messages as to maybe what they need to incorporate in their life too, like a little bit more. I might get guided to say, go to your doctor, get some labs drawn because something's not feeling right over your liver. Like, you know what I mean? Like, go get your
Right.
liver drawn.
No, that
Um,
yes,
sometimes,
and I'm sure but the intuition is very powerful, and people forget, including myself, that it doesn't only work just like for things in your own life, but for other people too. If you've tuned into it, you can use that or tap into it to help someone else as well. And that's a lot of times we forget that, you know, because yeah, go ahead.
so when I wasn't doing the chronic pain unit for all those years, I actually collected the 2 volumes of data, almost like tomes. I was using a Mankoski, like a measuring pain scale, and I would do measurements before and after of wherever their pain was. And I wanted to run an efficacy trial on it to see, is it statistically significant? And if so, like, cool to get published. I just never ran the data. I never ran the data on it to see. I get too
Wow. Amazing.
But yeah, so yeah, sometimes their pain would reduce. I mean, unfortunately, I didn't have a control group because they were all pretty much utilized conventional meds and they were on other therapies. They would get the hydro massage therapy bed, acupuncture, physical therapy, medical management. They saw a psychiatrist, so they may have been getting like psych medication and counseling too. Um, and so all of these therapies combined, sometimes they would walk in a wheelchair, and sometimes they would be walking out not using any type of assistive device. Like they may have come in a wheelchair, they may have graduated to a walker, and then a cane, and then not use anything. So
Wow.
it all depends because a lot of them had all different types of things. You know, they may have had slip discs or infections because a lot of them sometimes they would progress from abusing opioid pills and then to get it cheaper on the streets they would start shooting up heroin, you know,
Oh,
because
wow.
they wanted the same pain relief. uh, because usually when you abuse opioids it takes more and more, your tolerance gets real high,
Right.
and it creates this jack in the box effect where the pain would be squashed once they get the med. But once the medication wears off, their pain is higher than when they originally started. So it's like they're always,
Intensified. Yes.
yeah, this
Wow.
thing.
That's wow. Yeah.
So it was a lot of bone infections that we were treating too with IV. They had PICC lines and IV antibiotic management that we were doing. And some wounds from shooting up too. So,
Wow.
yeah,
That's very powerful. What you're all these details that you're discussing, very intricate, and it all boils down to just healing, and healing and helping others overcome something, or to tune into something, that's amazing work that you're doing, and it's aligned with your gifts, and that's totally amazing. And I resonate. Well, we rewind back a little bit when you were even talking about you mentioned spirit guides and ascended masters and stuff like that, because for a long time I was seeing the number 333 a lot, so I use that. I incorporate that number. It's in my email and everything, and that has to
oh,
do with the ascended masters. I know that because I did some research on that, so that's amazing.
that's awesome. Great.
Right, yeah, that's my number, 333. I even have a song that I created in which I say that,
Oh, I love.
333. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll share that with you too. It's a hip hop song, but I incorporated that 333. The song is called Awaken, and
Mhm.
and I kind of reference, some urban type stuff, but then I mix that in there, like the spiritual stuff, so I can kind of grab some of the mainstream audience and kind of like draw them into, you know, awaken them a little bit,
No,
so
I was
yeah.
just listening to old school hip hop because one of my buddies, he got selected down in Miami to be one of the producers for some big celebration that they're having down there. So he wanted
Yes.
to know what our favorite old school hip hop dance song was going to be. And I was pulling in stuff from the early 2000s, but
Okay.
then pulling in some old songs from, oh my God, back in the 80s.
Oh, okay. Yes, I love 80s music. Yes,
Yeah.
that's when I was a teenager in the 80s. So yeah, I love the 80s. I love 80s music. I love 80s, my wife laughs at me, but I love 80s pop music, like In Excess, and Culture Club, and just a whole lot of different bands. A lot of the bands back then that were popular were from England and London, those
Oh,
guys. Yeah, so yeah, I love all that music. Yeah, it's amazing. But yes, I will find that link. um do you happen to listen to, or Spotify or Pandora or anything, because I have it on there too, or would you just like a link the link to that song. I think I have it on YouTube.
Oh, do it on YouTube. I'm all about YouTube.
Okay,
Wait,
so I'll find it. Yeah, it's on an album that I did last year entitled Self Empowerment Music for the Streets, which
okay.
yeah was intended to, like I said, my intentions when I created that album were to uh, get some of the fan base of the music that's more um, urban and maybe not so healthy, um, violence and substance abuse, kind of tap into that audience and then kind of pull them over. So I said I referenced a lot, some things that they could kind of relate to, but then,
Yeah.
I still kept it clean,
Uh-huh.
um, because I don't use any profanity in my music, and I, without pouring it on too strong, where they won't quite understand, if I just, you know, just kind of mix it a little bit in there. So I'm
Yeah.
basically planting seeds. So yes, I'll send you that. So that's
I love
amazing.
I love that. No, wait, you said you were listening to some of the stuff from Europe. Do you remember the Ocean Blue from the 80s?
Ocean Blue, that was a group?
Yeah.
What song? What was their popular song?
Well, their popular album was Ocean Blue, Ocean Blue. And they had a Manchester sound. I think you would like it. It's kind of like sing-songy. If you like some of the stuff from the 80s, I'm
The
eclectic.
Ocean Blue.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check them out then. I just screenshotted it here. Yeah.
It's like kind of like Sunday drive music, but it's nice just to bebop around and listen to it.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm eclectic like you. I think you kind of like everything like I do.
I
And
do. I
I
do.
was Yeah, we were talking. I don't know if you remember Tough Crew from the 80s. We were talking Tough Crew. And do you remember that song Top Billin'? That was another group.
I have to
And that,
listen to it. But yeah, I like stuff like I just looked it up. Like one of the songs I like is Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears.
oh, yes, I used to love Tears for Fears.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I like music like that because when I hear it, it's nostalgic to me because that was the beginning of MTV, and those
Uh-huh.
those were the songs being played on it at that time. Madonna and groups like, yeah, Tears for Fears and Duran
Yeah.
Duran, and then there were heavy metal bands, and yeah, and which I didn't really get into, but the pop groups I definitely got into. So yeah, it's amazing.
Did you
Am I-
grow up in California or did you grow up somewhere else?
Uh, most of my life California, but I started out in Ohio, a
Oh,
small town, a small at that time a small city named Lima, Ohio.
okay.
Nearest city was bigger city was is Dayton, Ohio, which that's where the airport is. But yeah, moved
Okay.
out to California in the 80s.
Oh, that's so great. My mom's from Northern California, but I grew up outside Philly. That's where I am.
Oh, okay, Philadelphia, brotherly love, right?
Yes. That's why a
Right,
lot of old school hip hop songs I think are very secular to Philly.
right. Have you ran those stairs where Rocky ran up before?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, you know the picture I sent you? That
Yes.
was right at the fountain at the top of those steps.
Oh, okay. See, I always wanted to do that. I said, one day I'm going to Philadelphia and I'm going to run up those stairs just like him and then put my hands up.
Yes.
That was one of my favorite franchises of movies. Is Rocky.
Yes, it's so inspirational. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like Sylvester Stallone. He's awesome in those movies. And yeah, well written and just a lot of it. When you think back, it was like, okay, yeah, right, but it still was very entertaining.
Well, he wrote it
He
apparently, and
did, but
yeah.
the sad part is he wrote those movies, right? But
Hmm.
whatever contract, I'm not sure if I'm even explaining this right, but I'll get to the conclusion of it is that he does not own the rights to that franchise. So he wrote it, but whatever contract he signed, that whatever production company, Universal, wherever it's from, they own it.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, they own that franchise. Just like when they're making like the newer movie connected to it, Apollo Creed, Creed movies, that's that company, the whatever it's Universal or Columbia, whatever it is. They're he's not getting any residuals from that because yeah, they own that. That's just how it works, I guess. Yes.
Yeah.
So how can while we have you here, um, are there any links or any websites or any way that people can find you to either inquire or read about your wonderful work or ask for your assistance or anything?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm actually teaching a Reiki level 1 class Earth Day weekend here in the Philadelphia area. And that's April 22nd and 23rd from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Whoever's interested in getting certified in Reiki level 1, I would love to teach you. And I don't have any websites, but people can get a hold of me via my email address, which is cocolamano@yahoo.com, which is COCOLAMANO@yahoo.com. And then I have my Vibracion Healing page on Facebook, or my regular Facebook page. They can get a hold of me by the Nicole Coco Lamina. But yeah,
Amazing.
for
Amazing.
sure.
Thank you very much for being on this podcast and sharing with me as well as many others. Uh, if you would like to be on the Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved podcast, you can email me at 333empower@gmail.com. Also, hit the like button and the subscribe button, whatever platform you're listening or watching this on. Thank you very much. You see, Nicole, I told you, or Coco, I told you I incorporate that 333. That's my email, 333empower.
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a very powerful number. The 33 is the master number.
Yes, I love that number. Thank you,
Uh-huh.
everyone, for watching and or listening. See you soon. I'm sending you love and appreciation. May abundance and health and prosperity circulate in all areas of your life. Thank you very much. See you soon.
Thank you
Enlightened.
so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. See you soon.
Bye-bye.